Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and for today's story, I decided to mix two stories into one, since they both happened in the same day. That being the new Battlefield being announced, and the new Nvidia cards being announced. So starting off with the Nvidia cards, we got the GTX 1080 and the 1070. Now for starters, I'm actually a little surprised they actually called it the 1080 and 1070 instead of doing something else entirely. Because 1080, 1080p, that kind of stuff, it must be a marketing nightmare. But it is what it is. We'll just roll with it. So yeah, talking about the 1080 first, it's going to launch at $600 with a Founders Edition, that being a better overclocking version or a better bend version for $700, and it will also come with 8 gigs of GDDR5X, the faster version to normal GDDR5. And all this is, that card's gonna launch on May 27th. So, I mean, yeah, from what they showed off, I'm quite impressed. Even though I'm still a little skeptical, or I take it with a grain of salt, just because I feel like the benchmarks they showed were really skewed in the fact that they kind of showed the card's strengths, but I feel like the card might have some weaknesses in some other places. But I mean, nonetheless, yeah, they showed that it was stronger than two 980s and SLI, and yeah, and it was like faster than the Titan X and stuff by quite a big margin. So I mean, that's a lot of talk. But I mean, hopefully it performs as good as they say it does. And for the price, I mean it's not bad, 600 for all that. But I think the real big winner here is the 1070, which is only going to be 380 starting. And of course, yeah, there will be a Founders Edition for that for 450, and it'll also come with 8 gigs of memory. But of course, it'll be the normal G5 memory, and it'll launch a little later. But it's looking like the better deal. I mean, just like last generation with the 980 and 970, the 970 ended up being the better bang for the buck. I mean, it performs, close to the 1080, I'd say, just like the 970 did to the 980. And it's somewhat affordable, I'd say. I mean, you could probably sell your 970 and, make up half the money for this card. So, that's pretty good. And like I said, with the 8 gigs of memory, I mean, I don't think the G5X is going to make that big of a difference. Because, I mean, the games aren't really taking that much advantage of the faster memory. We've seen that with the Fury cards, with the HBM memory. It didn't really make that much of a difference at all. So that's pretty much it for those two cards. Of course, both of them are going to be more energy efficient. Yeah, I think they're both going to use 8-pin power and stuff. So you only have to have one GPU power cable or PCIe power cable instead of 2, which is good. Or maybe you'll need 2 on the aftermarket versions, which that's actually what I'm more excited for, is the custom fan designs, so we can overclock them as far as it'll let us. So at least a lot farther than the reference cards, which will be good. But I mean, besides just the cards themselves, the other technologies they actually showed off at the conference were kind of interesting. I think one of them was a new one called Ansel, which it's kind of like a free camera kind of thing for supported games, where you'll be able to, it'll be a good thing for photographers and stuff. You'll be able to go around the world, kind of leave the default camera of your player, and use filters and super sample your photos and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, there's even like 360 degree capture, which just looks great. So I don't really see a lot of people talking about that. It's not, of course it's not as cool as the new cards, but it's it's something new. So, and it looks interesting for people who actually take photos in games and stuff. And of course they talked about more VR stuff, which take that as you will. I think VR looks kind of cool, but we'll have to wait and see. It still has to mature. But oh yeah, and another thing, they showed off a new surround display technology, which I actually don't use more than one monitor right now. But they kind of showed that, yeah, if you're using 3 monitors, how the sides will actually kind of stretch a little bit, and then it'll be kind of unrealistic. Well, I guess this new technology will make it to where they actually line up perfectly, to where all 3 monitors will, even when you curve the monitors in, they will show the correct angle or the correct image, which I thought was pretty cool, because I never really actually thought too hard about that. And so, yeah, I've never had more than one monitor, so, but that's interesting. But yeah, I think that's about it for the Nvidia side of things. Now, looking at Battlefield, I mean, this caught me by surprise just as much as those new cards. I mean, World War One. I was in the camp that it was going to be World War Two, since I want another World War Two game, since it's been a while. And I mean, we have games like Red Orchestra, but you have to be in a certain mindset to play Red Orchestra or Rising Storm, and I feel like Battlefield will be a good way to get back from that. And yeah, the only other World War One games I can think of right now are Verdun, in that indie game, which obviously has some problems with it, being that it's a indie game and such. But I mean, from what the trailer they showed us, it looks really badass. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna work, and I mean, yeah, you just have to sit back and think about how they're gonna make all this work. Because it looks cool in the trailer, and a lot of it looked like single player stuff. But you have to think about, if we're gonna be using bolt action rifles and stuff, how many bullets is it gonna take to kill someone? Is this gonna be a one-shot kill, or and the melee combat is another thing to worry about, since I mean, melee in the other Battlefields has been terrible with knifing. Counter knifing and knifing is just garbage. So unless they totally reamped that and made that work, and the horses as well, I mean, are they just going to be clippy like other vehicles are in Battlefield? So yeah, there's a lot to be worried about here. But I mean, just looking at the trailer, it looks really fun. Looks good. It looks like they actually pulled off what I thought couldn't be done. And no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So it'll probably be a day one purchase for me. So I mean, we'll see. We'll probably definitely see more come E3 time. So we'll be able to make a better decision at that point in time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for both of those games. So tell me what you guys think, or leave a comment. And thanks for watching.